What up, everybody? Welcome back to the show. So, Miami lands another blue chip recruit. And again, I told you guys, we're just getting started. It's going to be a slow build, a lot like last year. You're going to get those foundational guys that kind of raise the floor, and then June and July are when the blue chippers are going to start trickling in. Same exact thing happened last year. Things were kind of slow, and then late June, early July came around, and then you got the Jaden Waynes, the Francis Maligoas, the Riley Williams, guys like that. They started trickling in, and before you knew it, we had a top 10 class. Now, I don't look too much into the rankings, but I'm not like, oh, we're number 7 and the Gators number 6. We got to catch them. No, I've never been about that. But if you can consistently find yourself in that top 10-ish range, if you can consistently be well above that 50% threshold on the blue chip ratio, if you can consistently land top 100, top 150 recruits, well, we're doing our job and we're in really good shape. And by adding Kevin Riley to the class, we're following that formula. So Kevin Riley, a dude that, I'll be honest, I wasn't super positive that I wasn't super optimistic that we were going to land this young man up until these last couple of weeks. I don't know. I guess for whatever reason, I thought he was going to stay, being in Alabama's backyard, he was going to stay there. I know Alabama wanted him and probably still wants him. But Miami did an excellent job here building that relationship and closing, and it seems like a very solid, firm commitment. And, I think Kevin Riley definitely has a very high ceiling. He's one of those high floor, high ceiling kind of guys. I love his tape. He's one of those dudes that not only is fast, has amazing acceleration. And what I mean by that is he hits that top end speed within the first couple of steps. I mean, he'll stop, slow down, come in and out of a break, and boom, he's at top speed again. He's one of those like twitchy, fast, stop, go kind of guys. And when he finds a crease, he's gone. His straight line speed reminds me a little bit of like Travis Homer. I know Brian Smith the other day on Dono's show was saying he reminds him a little bit of Clinton Portis. And hey, I think we'd all be okay with that if he's anything like Clinton Portis. But he's listed as 6 feet, probably closer to 5'11", 200 pounds, solid size. Strong, can run through arm tackles, can run through you. Definitely a north-south kind of guy, but, shifty. He's shifty enough that he can get around you and get down the field. So definitely a downhill runner. He's a great complement. He's an all-purpose bell cow kind of back. He's an every down guy and a guy that you can put next to Chris Wheatley-Humphrey. Chris Wheatley-Humphrey, of course, just an absolute burner with game-changing speed. Kevin Riley also with great speed. And I think they complement each other well. That's your thunder and lightning combo. And there you go. Those are your running backs. Again, if you're in the chat, please hop on. Give me your thoughts on the acquisition of Kevin Riley and his addition. I think it's big. I think if you want to call it a whale, I think we got a whale here, honestly. And his stock might even rise more than what it is now, of course, depending on the kind of senior season he has. But I love the pickup. Finally, this running back room, I think other rooms on the team, they're still a couple of years away from, they're improving, obviously, size, strength, talent level. Other position groups on the team are improving, but I think getting it back to where it needs to be to look like Miami again, I think the running back room is the one that's closest to that. Because if you look at who we got on the roster already, you look at, Don Chaney, Trevante Citizen. Again, I know they're getting through their injury stuff, but, hope by all indications, they should be ready to play this fall. Chaney, Trevante, you got Henry Parrish, you got, AJ Allen, the great transfer that we just got. I think that is going to be a very nice addition. Don't be shocked if he eventually becomes the starter even this year. Wouldn't be surprised at all. You got Mark Fletcher, Chris Johnson coming on campus. right there you have quite a stable. And then on top of that, you got these two studs coming in, Chris Wheatley-Humphrey and Kevin Riley now. That running back room already, I think they're about a year away, meaning when those two guys get on campus next season, that room is starting to look like how it should look. Not just improved, not just, oh, we can compete with the big boy. No, no, no. How it should look. Let me tell you what I mean. How Miami should look. Okay? So that running back room, I think, is the closest to that. Other position groups, O-line, obviously, we're getting some studs there. Linebacker, got barring a great crop of guys last year in this last cycle. We're getting there. Still a couple of years away, I think, with a couple of position groups, but we're getting there. We're making progress. What's up, Mike? Mitchell, what's going on? My job. No worries, man. Take your time. Mitch and I are working on something. I'll let you guys know about that in the coming days or weeks. Before I continue, speaking of, you guys probably noticed over there, the new logo. Yes, thank you to our boy Adrian at About the Fans. I know he helps a lot of the channels like Flo's channel and you know, all these guys with their merch and all that. So, you know, he helped me kind of design that new logo. Actually, he did the most of the designing. I just kind of gave him my some ideas, but it came out great. I love it. There are more things coming down the pipeline. Hint, hint. So, you know, pay attention for that. But thank you to my dude up at About the Fans, Adrian. I really appreciate it. So yeah, back to thank you, man. Appreciate it. So back to recruiting. So we got Kevin Riley on board. That's a big one. Coming off a big recruiting weekend that I think a lot of those guys, you know, they're going to finish their visits and they're going to kind of wait till, you know, that July dead period to make their announcements. Alonzo and Mario are building this team like an NFL team, getting depth players, then the 4- and 5-star players. I totally agree with you, sir. There's floor raisers and there's ceiling raisers. Okay? Kevin Riley's a ceiling raiser. 1,000%. He is a ceiling raiser. And there's guys on this class that are floor raisers. You need both. We desperately needed to raise that floor, because how many times did you see a guy get nicked up or get hurt? He comes off the field and his backup looks like he doesn't even belong on a college football field. Sorry to say, but it's true. We've seen it time and time again. I almost feel bad saying it, but the talent level the athleticism level just was not what it should be. It just simply was not. So speaking of some recruiting updates, with some more than ceiling raisers, these guys are program changers. Let's start with the recent developments with Jeremiah Smith, arguably the number one player in the country. He is next in line to be one of the great wide receivers that Ohio State and Brian Hartline have developed into first rounders. He seems well on his way to that. He's committed to Ohio State right now. He seems very, 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 very solid with Ohio State. However, things have developed recently. For example, subtle things. No, I'm not saying, I'm dropping a crystal ball for him or anything like that, or you should expect him to flip. Nothing like that, but, we've made a little progress, I think. For example, the idea before was, for him this coming week was coming off his couple days visit at FSU to then, and by the way, it seemed, from what I read, it seems like he wants to come back and visit FSU when we go up there and play them. So even more on the line there. I really hope that blowout last year was just an aberration. I believe it was. Even though I do believe they have the better roster right now, if we can pull off an upset in front of Jeremiah Smith with him watching live, that would be massive. But anyway, back to my point. Jeremiah Smith comes off his visit to Florida State. He was supposed to originally visit Miami for a day. Now, there's good and bad to that. The good is you kind of have him all to yourself. There's not other recruits or anything. You focus all your attention on him, but it's a weekday. It's like, it's not the same to me. I think a weekend is bigger. Now he's planning on, he's changed his original plans because he was going to go, if I'm not mistaken, to Ohio State for another visit up there. Now he is going to spend the weekend here. I think this is a good thing. Like, I don't know how this can, there's no way that this is not a good thing. This is a good thing. He wants to spend more time here. He wants to spend time with the other recruits. And this gives us more time with him, more one-on-one time with him. And believe me, they will make him a priority on this trip, even though there's a lot of blue chippers coming to visit. That they're going to keep chopping wood and chipping away at him. I think, our chances went from 0.1% to 1% to now maybe it's like 7 or 8%. We're getting there, But I don't want to make any predictions, but we got a hell of a team. Listen, the talent level's significantly higher than it once was just 6 months ago. We counted the other day, 41 new players on this roster. 41. I mean, this will be a different team. How much better? I don't know. Really, I'm not going in with any expectations. I just I'm curious just to see what happens this year. But it will be a different team. Just literally by the roster makeup, it's just half the roster is different. Does us having only Judd hurt the chance of him coming here? I mean, I don't think so. I think he's going to keep an eye on us as the recruiting season goes. And, I think if we land another premier quarterback, that would be great. Colin Hurley, please. Obviously that would help. What helps more than the quarterback, though, is the system. If we can show Jeremiah Smith that, hey, not only are we winning some games, but we're going to score points and we're going to go vertical on people, as Kevin Beard told the wide receivers, and we can back all that up on the field, then all of a sudden that 7 or 8% chance that I'm giving it goes up significantly. So even if we hit an absolute grand slam out of the park on this visit, it's still a long way to go. And where we're going to possibly flip that commitment is how we perform on the field. We have to perform at a very high level, offensively speaking, specifically in the passing game. That'll help us win games. We have a chance very early in the season to impress this young man against Texas A&M. I think that Texas A&M's talented team. I think their blue chip ratio is well over 60%. Ours is sitting at 55, 54, 55, something like that. But, not too far off. I think last year that was a winnable game, and this year will also be a winnable game. It's at home. We tend to do well or much better in these. When we have these home-and-home 2-game series with big non-conference opponents, we tend to do much better in the home game historically. Oklahoma, lost to them up there, beat them down here. Florida, lost them up there, beat them down here. Kansas State, got killed by them up there. We were 1 yard away from beating them down here. And I think that team later in the season ended up being number 1. So, we tend to perform much better down here. Ohio State, that was another one. We went up to Columbus, Ohio, got our butts kicked. They came down here. We kicked their butts a little bit, So hopefully that trend continues. And, I think we got a chance of surprising A&M because it's early in the season. They won't have a lot of tape on our offense. And I think that would impress Jeremiah Smith. But that's the situation with him right now. Obviously, this is going to be an ongoing saga until he makes his decision. And that will go well into the fall. So that's Jeremiah. Kamarian Franklin, new developments with him. So he was originally supposed to visit LSU this week, canceled, now is visiting Miami, and visiting Miami unofficially, if I'm not mistaken, which means he's coming on his own dime. So that's big. We all thought he was leaning, he comes from Mississippi, so we all thought he was leaning SEC country. I didn't hear too much about him after his visit. It was kind of quiet, but then all of a sudden things kind of turned. And that shows what happened. You know, this recruiting game, every day, something new can happen. It's an unofficial. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. And so Kamarian Franklin is a 5-star monster of a defensive lineman. Moves like he's 240 pounds. He moves like a 230-pound quick defensive end, but he's like 265 and 6'5". Probably going to end up being like a 3-technique D tackle. Very fleet of foot, very quick, light on his feet, but hits you like a Mack truck because he's 6'5", 265. That, you know, that's the kind of guy that we're going after on the D line, because you got him, David Stone, Dylan Stewart, Elias Rudolph, Justin Scott. That's the kind of caliber we're going after on the D line. The way we focused on the O line last cycle is how we're focusing on the D line. Give me any 2 of those guys and I'm pretty freaking happy. Give me 3 and I'm absolutely ecstatic. I'm feeling pretty confident there. Lightfoot is another one. So, you know, we'll see what happens. But that's, to me, you cancel a visit to come down here on an unofficial. Supposedly he's working out with Jason Taylor. That is very telling. So who knows? We could be seeing an early commitment from him very soon. And then if you get Kamarian Franklin on board, all of a sudden David Stone, Justin Scott, they're like, oh, man, Kamarian just committed. I want to make sure I get my spot, number 1. Number 2, I would love to play next to that guy. Can you imagine? Man, me and Kamarian on the D-line dominating. Speaks for itself. Wes is asking, if not Smith, who else we got targeted? A lot. We got Chance Robinson already on board. Florida's going hard after him. There's a chance of a flip there. I still feel relatively good. Okay. You know, I feel pretty solid about that one. I feel like 80-20, 70-30 that we're going to keep him. He's a very talented dude. I would love to keep Chance Robinson, but you know, also JoJo Trader. Obviously, to me, that's our number 1 can't miss dude. That's like, he's like ours to lose if we just make sure and stay on him and show him the love and show him that, you know, what he can do with this offense. I mean, I love JoJo Trader. He's, you know, Jeremiah Smith's teammate in high school, and he's pretty elite. Jeremiah Smith is literally as elite as it gets. I cannot think of a better wide receiver coming out of high school. That damn good, but JoJo Trader is not far off. Also a 5-star, depending on where you look, 5-star or very, very, very high 4-star. So JoJo Trader's one. There was a Ja'Cory Barney, I think is his name. That's the kid from Palmetto, is visiting this weekend. Burner. Tank Hawkins, another kid, the kid from IMG. Absolute burner. Notice a trend. We're trying to improve the speed here. So those are 2 burners that we're trying to, you know, I think both are, I know Jeray Hawkins is a smaller guy. But, you know, they look more like slot guys. So, hey, we need those as well. So I'm trying to think of who else off the top of my head, like elite guys. Draylon Miller, I know, visited recently. Yeah, it's all I can think of right now. You know, throw some more names in the comments. But no, we're going. We have contingency plans at wide receiver. Don't you worry about that. If that's why you're asking. Oh yeah, Trader Wingo was another one. I'm hearing he's kind of Wingo's kind of trending away from us right now. That's what last I heard. Miller, some big time cats that catch the ball. Absolutely. Let's see. I think Burstone's talking about Kamari, and he's torn between us and the Vols, but loves JT. So let's see. JT is going to make the difference with a few of these guys. And if it came, looking back at this, if it came down to DVD versus JT and there was just one spot on the coaching staff and you had to make a choice, as much as I love DeMarcus Van Dyke, and who knows, we may see him back coaching for the Canes down the road. You never know. It's kind of how coaching works. It's called the coaching carousel for a reason. But if it came down to that, one or the other, I think Mario made the right decision. JT all day. JoJo's also visiting this weekend with Corey. Yes, I know Corey Duff, that tight end who's more of a receiving tight end, whereas the young man we just got last week is more of a blocking tight end. Me too. He has the gold jacket. Enough said. Absolutely. And you know what? JT played recently enough that these young men can kind of remember being little kids, maybe seeing JT play, especially growing up down here. JT's a Dolphin legend, and not just a Dolphin legend. Looks at his late 40s, look like he could still play. I mean, I've seen him in person recently, and the dude looks like he can throw on pads and hang with these young men. That's you see that man of his stature. He brings the Hall of Fame credentials. He's a Miami Dolphins legend. He's got that swag to him. He's got that deep booming voice. The dude just has a presence. I have faith JT will close on him. JT is going to close some big time whales on the D line. I feel like, man, once that first 5-star D line, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's going to pop as soon as that first one comes in, and maybe Kamarian, who knows? So real quick, on my last stream, I was talking about some of the targets, kind of like at all positions, how many we're going to get at each position, or how many I think we're going to get, how many do we have room for. Cornerback, I know some of you guys towards the end of the stream, I had to hop off, were asking about certain guys. One of them was Jamari Howard. Jamari Howard is, I pay attention more to the composite rankings than just the regular 247 ones, but the composite rankings have him as a very high 4-star recruit. He's a top 100 player. I think he's number 86 in the country, something like that. 6'2", $175. He's got that length that Mario likes at corner. If you've noticed, the guys who brought in the transfer portal, he wants size at corner. He wants 6'1", 6'2", and above. And if you look at who he's talking, like, Sinoe Lele, I probably butchered the name, but you know what I'm talking about, the number 1 JUCO kid for the next cycle. The kid's like 6'4". We need length at receiver to deal with the length at receiver. When we're facing these big time, both in conference and out of conference opponents. So Jamari Howard definitely is a guy I would love to have in this class. He decommitted from Michigan State back in May, I want to say. And he, he's in our backyard. He transferred to Miami Central. So, that could be kind of telling. So being in our backyard, we can develop that relationship. And he runs track, and when I saw his tape, what jumped out at me is not only does he have solid coverage skills and all that, I mean, he's just oozing athleticism. He's one of those guys that he oozes so much athleticism. Screw it. You could teach him whatever he needs to get done technique wise at the cornerback position. You could teach him, because the first few highlights you watch, it's really just him either catching an interception or catching a punt or a kickoff. And he's just making all these guys miss, like in tight, like inside of a phone booth, just making guys miss, spin, juke, duck, and he's gone. So Jamari Howard absolutely just oozes athleticism and talent. He's in our backyard. I have no doubt that, we'll get him here for a visit at some point. I think he visited back in March or April, something like that. So I hope we're on him. That's all I'll say about that. Charles Lester was another one that was asked about. Charles, clicked on the wrong one. Flip watch. Ardarius Hayes, UF commit. Okay, keep an eye on that. So Charles Lester was one that one of you guys had asked me about right as I was hopping off. So Charles Lester, 5-star recruit, according to the composite, corner, but plays both ways, corner and wide receiver. if you look at his tape. His speed is just absurd. It's something like otherworldly. He's so fast. Right now, all indications are pointing to Florida State. Sorry to break this to everybody. Steve Wiltfong has his crystal ball with a 6 level confidence to Florida State. There's a bunch of crystal balls pointing to him at Florida State. I mean, a lot of them are Florida State writers, but I would say one of them, I looked at their prediction record, and it's like 14 for 14. And he dropped one, I think it was yesterday, he dropped this crystal ball. So all signs are pointing to FSU. A big part of that is probably because he announced he was going to make his announcement officially on July 29th. He announced that right after his Florida State visit that by all accounts went amazing. So, yep, all indications point to Florida State for Charles Lester, but hey, the 29th of July is a ways away. So you never know. It's recruiting at the end of the day. And finally, another cornerback target I wanted to talk about was Ricky Knight, the third. That was the other one that I did want to bring him up last show. Couldn't think of his name in the moment. Ricky Knight, another FSU target. But that's like a Miami FSU battle. If Ricky Knight is kind of the consolation prize of, if we don't get the other two, that's as damn good of a consolation prize as you can get, because you look at Ricky Knight and specifically his coverage skills at corner, they rival the other two. I'm telling you. I mean, while Charles Lester just oozes otherworld, like not from this planet kind of speed, and Jamari Howard just has super insane athleticism and size, Ricky Knight won't wow you with those physical things. While all those things are solid, he's a 4-star recruit, very talented. But the dude is a damn good corner. I will tell you that. Runs track, plays receiver as well. He plays both ways on the field, but his pure coverage skills, his tackling ability, check. Ricky Knight has all those things. So love him. I think, he's got a cool name, Ricky Knight the third. I have a theory. If you have a cool name, you're probably going to end up being pretty good. So I like him. It's between us and FSU. So that's one of our top targets at that position right now. Let's see. Rasta, what's going on, my brother? Got to have you on the show one day, man. It's been a while. Talk some recruiting. Let's see. That Gator class will end up outside the top 10. Yeah, I heard some people talking about that. And did the same thing happen last year? I want to say it did. Well, no, I think they ended up with a top 10 class, but I want to say they got really hot and got to like top 3 and then kind of dropped a little bit. I don't know. But a lot it'll be telling how they perform on the field this year, because they could lose some of those guys. And look, credit to them. They've brought in some good guys in their class. They deserve the number 3 ranking or whatever they have right now. But will they hang on to them? That's the question. I feel like they had like a surge. Like all of a sudden they bring these guys in. And I feel like when it's a flash in the pan like that, I'm like, I always get suspicious. I'm like, even when it's us, I'll be honest. It's like, is that going to stick? Whereas with us, the last 2 cycles, it's been like a slow burn, which I think is more solid, because even after a 5-7 season, who decommitted? One guy? Come on. Let's see. We all know the Gators aren't hanging on to that class. These bums. Yeah. Listen, Billy's a good recruiter, I'm not going to take that away from him, but let's see if he can hang on to him, like I said. Hopefully we got a big D tackle. I was talking earlier about Kamari and Franklin. Look for that name. Should definitely be a great weekend for us. I agree, sir. I think this weekend, commits will continue to trickle in after this weekend. But it'll be, I was just saying, thank you, Rasta. I was just saying that earlier. Our month will be it'll be a lot like last year. Early, mid-July, I think you'll see more commits start to roll in. But it's going to get fun. It's going to get fun here in a hurry. Let's see. We always play a brutal schedule. I don't know about that. Oh, what did Mitch say? They all leave when they can't get paid. Yeah. But yeah. All right. 30 minutes. I think that'll do it for me, guys. So thank you for being on. Really appreciate it. Wow. I had a little surge here at the end. 92 in the chat. Thank you for being on. Please hit that like button while you're here. If you missed it, you just drag the little cursor, rewind, or rewatch Squad, this thing. We got into, if you missed it, we got into Jeremiah Smith, Kamarian Franklin. We got into my thoughts on Kevin Riley. A little bit on state of especially that running back room now. I love how it's starting to look. It's really starting to look how it should. And as always, thank you guys. Again, new logo. You guys probably noticed it. Thank you to our guys at About the Fans, and more good news on that end coming in the next couple of weeks. Very excited about that. So anyways, I'm going to go eat. So take care. Go Canes.